This is heartwarming. See, this is what politics is all about, folks. UnitedHealth Group CEO. The healthcare system is flawed. Let's fix it. That's right. Let's come together. Glad we could work together. Pleasure doing business with you guys. Let's see if we can work something out, fix this screwy healthcare system. As Brian Thompson's family, friends, and colleagues mourn his killing, we are bearing a grief and sadness we will carry for the rest of our lives. Grief for the family he leaves behind, and grief for a brilliant, kind man who was working to make healthcare better for everyone. We greatly appreciate the enormous outpouring of support for Brian, who ran our health insurance business, UnitedHealthcare, as well as for our wider company, which I lead. Okay, so just so to clear up any confusion, because a lot of people are under the misconception that Thompson was CEO of UnitedHealth Group. He was CEO of UnitedHealthcare. UnitedHealth Group owns essentially two companies, UnitedHealth Insurance and Optum, which is a major care provider, which is kind of crazy that they own a care provider and an insurer, since the providers and the insurers are often at odds with each other over what the insurers will pay for. So UnitedHealth Group is the parent company that owns both of those companies. Andrew Whitty, the author of this op-ed, is the CEO of that. Yet we are also struggling to make sense of this unconscionable act and the vitriol that has been directed at our colleagues who have been barraged by threats. You know, I should have...
fucking scumbag douchebag.
I was about to say, yeah, she used the soundboard a lot for this one, because a whole lot of tongue biting I'm doing through this first part of the piece. No employees, be they the people who answer customer calls or nurses who visit patients in their homes, should have to fear for their and their loved ones' safety.
Nobody is threatening nurses.
Well, this is what's amazing
about
this.
That's not what it's...
Well, that's why I wanted to mention that they are the parent company of both an insurance company and a provider. So, yes, UnitedHealth does employ, as it says here, the people of UnitedHealth Group are nurses, doctors, patient and client advocates, technologists, and more. They all come to work each day to provide critical health services for millions of Americans in need. No, the doctors and the nurses who work for Optum, yes, they come to work to provide care. The other half of your company comes to work to try and screw patients out of care whenever they can to maximize profits for that sector, which is why I said it doesn't really make sense to me that you would own both, but they do. And notice he only mentions the cohort from the second group, from the Optum group, the nurses, the doctors, the advocates.
We are bureaucrats, pencil pushers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We know the healthcare system does not work as well as it should, and we understand people's frustrations with it. No one would design a system like the one we have. Really, no one would design a system like the one we have, and no one did. Well, no, you did. You guys did. I mean, why does health insurance exist?
Yeah, I mean, why don't you just say we should not exist?
Right. Our company should not exist.
That would be a respectable position.
Right. We're going to fold our insurance section. We're just going to own Optum. We're just going to provide care. We're going to stop being middlemen and profiteers off of the denial.
We're going to use our enormous lobbying power to disband our grift.
Our insurance company. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a patchwork built over decades. Our mission is to help make it work better. We are willing to partner with anyone, as we always have. Healthcare providers, employers, patients, pharmaceutical companies, governments, and others, to find ways to deliver high-quality care and lower costs. Clearly, we are not there yet. Clearly. We understand and share the desire to build a healthcare system that works better for everyone. That is the purpose of our organization. No, the purpose of your organization is the exact opposite of that. Yes. It is to overly complicate healthcare and to add unnecessary cost. Unnecessary cost. The spending that goes into healthcare helps pay for the obscene salaries of people like Brian Thompson, and he's one of the more egregious examples, but downstream of that, you have insurance brokers. We did a segment last week, an insurance broker laughing at the fact, that a guy with a chronic illness wasn't going to get his medicine covered anymore because it was costing the company too much money, laughing at the guy's mother for giving him a hard time. So that's the purpose of your organization is to leech off of the health care
And they
of
worked
people.
for this company.
And they worked
by
for
the
this
way.
company. Exactly.
Yes. There is no reason for these companies to exist. They do nothing. Yes,
Right.
if you got rid of these health insurance companies, you'd have to hire some bureaucrats to take their place, but a fraction of what they employ.
Yes, this is 18% of our economy is healthcare. And for some reason, that is a talking point that is often weaponized against government run healthcare. No, that's a talking
Right.
point for government run healthcare.
Right. Right.
If healthcare is 18% of a country's spending, if what is that, $1 in $6? If one out of every $6 spent in a society is on healthcare, that means the healthcare system is bloated.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that one in every $6 spent is on healthcare. That's a reason to eliminate private. That is a reason to eliminate private sector health insurance.
Of course, there should be no such thing as medical debt.
Right.
It's insane that people lose everything they've worked for because they get sick.
Yep. Or get old. You know, my mother was just at an old folks home temporarily because my father had knee surgery, and so she had to stay at a place that could give her round the clock care. And you know, it's extremely expensive. It wipes you out if you have to stay there for the rest of your life. Thankfully, she only had to stay there for a few weeks, and now she's back home. But people live for as long as their checkbooks will take them, and then if they run out of money and they can't pay for it anymore, then they'll go into one of the government-run centers. But that's it. Like you will get cleaned out, and even those government-run centers, they will take what they can from you. The Medicare Advantage, this and that, the Part D, whatever. I mean, it is just crazy. It's just sick. Healthcare is both intensely personal and very complicated, and the reasons behind coverage decisions are not well understood. Pardon me. We share some of the responsibility for that. Oh, really? Oh, the reasons behind coverage decisions are not well understood. You mean the reasons behind denial of care are not well understood. Coverage decisions is insurance CEO speak for denial of care. We share some of the responsibility for that, meaning all of the responsibility for that, together with employers, governments, and others who pay for care. We need to improve how we explain what insurance covers and how decisions are made.
Oh, no, if you just explain it to people with chronic illnesses, why, in order to boost your profit margins and please the shareholders, you do everything you can to complicate the process and to intimidate people out of appealing your decisions. If you just explained that, people would be good with it.
Exactly. And this next part here, I mean, it just gets worse with every sentence. Behind each decision lies a comprehensive and continually updated body of clinical evidence focused on achieving the best health outcomes and ensuring patient safety. No, it does not. Behind each decision lies a calculation of whether or not you will remain profitable if you sign off on X, Y, or Z care, treatment, medication, surgery, whatever. It has nothing to do with ensuring the best health outcomes or patient safety. Nothing whatsoever. Not at all. Everybody has a horror story. This is why this is so laughable. And this is why they are in such shambles. Because everybody has had a negative interaction with a health insurance company. Now, for some people, it has meant catastrophe. For other people, it has meant inconvenience, right? Not everybody has a horror story in the sense that something horrible happened, but everybody knows what it's like to fight with an insurance company on the phone. I've done it. I'm sure everyone has done this. And so everyone knows that behind each decision does not lie a calculation about what's best for the patient. Everybody knows that's wrong. Everybody knows that's a lie.
Well, for-profit healthcare, it's like for-profit news.
Right.
There's an inherent conflict of interest in having that kind of a model.
Right. While the health system is not perfect, Every corner of it is filled with people who try to do the best for those they serve. Brian was one of those people. He was raised in the same Iowa farmhouse as his mom. His dad spent more than 40 years unloading trucks at grain elevators. Yeah, they were honest people, and it's just what went wrong that they raised a guy like that who said, you know what, I'll get rich denying people life-saving medical treatment. Wow. Apple fell far from the tree there.
As long as I don't have to live on this fucking farm unloading trucks.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. His dad spent more than 40 years unloading trucks at grain elevators. BT, as we knew him, worked farm jobs as a kid.
That's very humanizing.
Yeah, BT.
I've got that changed my whole perspective on this douchebag.
Yeah. He fished at a gravel pit with his brother. He never forgot where he came from because it was the needs of people who lived in places like Jewell, Iowa, that he considered first in finding ways to improve care. I didn't read this ahead of time. I had my own segments to do. This is physically hurting me. Yeah, well, you'll see what happens. So when a colleague proposed a new idea to Brian, he would always ask, would you want this for your own family? If not, end of discussion. Okay, that's just total bullshit. I mean, I do not believe that for a second. I have the right to say I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Yeah, profits exploded under him, as did denial of care.
Right.
And he was being investigated by the Justice Department for insider trading.
Right. The guy was certainly a moral criminal and almost certainly a criminal, an actual criminal. Brian was never content with the status quo. That's why he pushed us to build dedicated teams to help the sickest people navigate the health system. It's why he fought for preventive health and quality health outcomes rather than simply adding ever more tests and procedures. Is that why? So he was a holistic healer. That's right. What it was. He
was into acupuncture.
He was into acupuncture, right? Herbal tea. No, you don't need that prescription medicine. Just take some elderflower and some dandelion root and rub it together, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Didn't you read RFK's book? You're good. He believed decisions about healthcare should start with the individual and champion plans in which consumers could see costs and coverage options up front so they could decide what's best for themselves and their families. In other words, they can realize that the shit the doctor wants them to do is too expensive, so they'll come up with a plan B to see if they can work around it.
When are we rolling out our turmeric and duct tape plan?
Right, exactly. Right. The ideas he advocated were aimed at making healthcare more affordable, more transparent, more intuitive, more compassionate, and more human. That's Brian's legacy, one that we will carry forward by continuing our work to make the health system work better for everyone. Okay,
where the fuck did you get the balls?
Yeah. So that was the entire
that
op-ed.
was painful. It was painful.
Yeah.
That hurt me. It hurt me to listen to it.
So that wasn't long. That was the entire thing. In fairness to Witty, the guy who wrote this, I thought I should read the whole thing so that I'm not accused of taking anything out of context. So Ken Klippenstein tweets out, LOL, New York Times just disabled comments on the UnitedHealth CEO op-ed. So apparently 1,987 comments. The comment section is closed. To submit a letter to the editor for publication, write to letters@thenewyorktimes.com. So they turned off the chat section on the thing. They these guys these are like the vanguard guys of the health insurance industry. Ken Klippenstein, top comments, LOL. So okay, they were disabled, but apparently a few of the top ones, like the highest rated comments, were screenshotted and preserved for the internet. So reader picks. So you could see the engagement was just like through the roof on this. 3,107 people recommended this comment. I mean, this was a viral thing. Yeah. Kevin C. in Boston. This is the quintessential CEO statement, not a single actual idea or recommendation, but gets released by the corporate media anyway. To say this doesn't match the moment is putting it mildly. The Prof from Maine says insurance companies should not be making decisions about the science of healthcare. They are compromised by the profit motive and they have little connection to the actual provision of care. Ralph from Naples, Florida says, I have read this twice, and in essence, it says nothing. What is he proposing to change or improve? As the largest insurer, what will it take the lead on to improve access, coverage, and outcomes? Shocking in a way at this time of intense reaction to his industry's business practices. So, this was a New York Times message board. So these are very polite, genteel people here. So, they didn't light them up as much as they would have on X, which I looked on the New York Times. I looked on their X feed. They apparently did not post this article to X, which was a smart move on their part.
I wonder why they did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because X would not have been so kind. They wouldn't have been as diplomatic as these guys were.
No, they certainly wouldn't have. This is a teachable moment. I'm planning on doing a video essay about this, about the reaction to this from certain quarters. Hey, who is working very much in the same direction as the New York Times regarding this? It's the people who savage the New York Times all the time. Matt Walsh,
right?
Chris Williamson, Barry Weiss. All these people who supposedly are anti-establishment, right? But when the shit hits the fan, when these corporate powers are threatened, when the real underlying components of our failed system are under threat, they're all in one big fucking club. They're all in one big club. Matt Walsh sounds just like the New York Times now.
How dare you not have sympathy for this man?
Right? Brett Stevens, right? They're all on the same page as soon as there's a real threat to power. These people, these commentators, these podcasters, they are just another wing of the same set of handmaidens whose job is to keep you consumed with culture wars so that people like Brian Thompson can continue to rip you off.
Exactly. Yep. Very well said.
Please clap.